Before Zach texts me, so I'm going to put my phone away afterwards.
More than I do.
Regular meeting of June 7th, 2022.
So moved.
Moved by Gordon,
Second.
second by Amanda, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Very good. And so we have some sports parents here, and I'm requesting to move up this action item about the Viking sports parents request and the snack bar being named after Laurie Dewhurst. I'm asking it to be moved up in the agenda because they have to get to their school, their own Viking sports parents meeting. So if nobody minds, I would like to do that. Everybody mind? Okay, good. So at this time, action is required. I would take a motion to request, at the request of the Viking sports parents, to name the indoor snack bar at the East Bridgewater Junior Senior High School in Laurie Dewhurst's honor.
So moved.
Moved by Amanda.
Second.
Second by Lauren. Any discussion? So now we have two new people. Gordon.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Asking. I remember way back when other issues came up about naming hallways and different things, which is great, and I didn't know this lady, so I'm sure she's well-deserved, but I think from our perspective, from the school committee's perspective, it'd be the right thing to do to have some sort of protocol that you go through, and maybe you've already done that.
Yep.
Oh, you have? Great. Okay, super. I didn't see that, so that makes perfect sense. Thank you. That was my only question.
Thank you.
I think it was in our backup this week. It's definitely available on the Google Drive as well, but,
Did you all get to read it?
yeah, there's a really lovely letter from Viking sports parents, just, and then we got to hear some heartfelt words as well, about how wonderful Lori Dewhurst was and why this would be a great, thing to do in her memory.
So at this time, if there's no further discussion, I would take we can do a vote. I did the motion in a second, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in tonight.
Can I just ask a question? For steps going forward, do we need to get approval from you guys once we figure out what the sign's going to look like or any of that, or
You would see the superintendent. Come see the superintendent.
we'll just work with you, we'll give
Sure,
you
can bring
kind
it
of
to me, and
drafts?
I can bring it to a school committee meeting, take a look at it.
Okay,
Sure.
awesome. Great, thank you all very much.
you.
Thank you so
There's
much.
going to be a lot of happy people at our meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you for the great idea.
Thank you.
I think it's awesome. And, okay, I guess we don't have to do that. At this time, I would ask our new, welcome Lilia Burgundis to our meeting. It's their first meeting as a student rep. And do you have any information to give us?
I do. This week, the ninth graders are taking Science MCAS on Tuesday and Wednesday. The Great East Music Festival is taking place on Thursday and Friday of this week, and the underclassmen music recital next Tuesday, June 14th. Underclassmen academic award nights will be happening next Thursday, June 16th, and invitations will be sent by email by the end of the day tomorrow. 2 students, and then the parents that are concerned should ask their children. The email will not include specific awards, but will have the invitation included. Next week, the 8th graders will be celebrating their graduation, and it will culminate at the end of the week with their 8th grade graduation on Friday at 1 p.m. All of the kids at the junior senior high school are planned to have schedules by the last day of school. They're not going to include the teachers' names, but will have all of the courses listed. This week, student elections will be taking place during Viking Block. Monday, the rising seniors went. Tuesday, today, the rising juniors. Wednesday, the sophomores, and the freshmen are on Thursday. This year, no official finals are taking place. I think the kids are pretty excited about that, but and have benefited from doing more projects and assignments rather than a standard final assessment.
That's
Thank
it?
you.
Yes.
There's a lot going on.
Yes.
You have Pride Week.
Yes, we do. I think a lot of the students are excited about the dress-up days. I've seen some participation with that, so that's very nice to see.
Yesterday was Green Day.
Yes,
It was Tie-Dye Day today.
yes. Tomorrow's Disney, so, yeah.
Tomorrow's Disney, right?
Yes,
And the kids must be counting down the days because
Oh,
there's not
yes.
that many left.
absolutely, yeah.
Thank you. And this time, we hand it over to Superintendent Legault for Superintendent's Corner.
So I'll start with Pride Month. I think that, we are a fully inclusive school district, the LGBTQAI, and their advisor, Mrs. Glynn, have a lot of things that have been planned in the LGBTQ. The students have been meeting together and have planned out a lot of the events that have been happening this week. I think it's more of a spirit week for them, and to start to talk about differences in kids, and regardless of who you like, doesn't change the person that you are, and that you will be accepted here in the District of East Bridgewater. And it's a month-long, Pride Month, but we have it here a week, and I think the students have embraced it, and I think that more and more students will become more involved in multiple groups that we have here at the district, or at the high school, junior, senior high school. I think Mr. Clements and his staff are extremely acceptable to having all kids in all types of activities here, which I think is great. And hearing the speeches the other night at graduation, and hearing a few people send a nod towards all types of inclusive groups and all students that we are that are accepted here in the district, just says a lot for the community of East Bridgewater. And I think that we're going to change, and the change is happening. And as again, inch by inch is a cinch, yard by yard is hard. Not everything's going to change in a day. But if we continue to role model at the schools, it will continue to change, and we continue to do good things. So I know that, like you said, tomorrow is
Disney Day.
Disney. What's Thursday?
Decade Day.
Decade?
Yes. And I believe Friday is Rainbow.
Rainbow Day. Okay. Thank you. We did have, I think I sent this out, but Plymouth County Mosquito Control, they did spray for us, and they sprayed our fields last week, especially the high school turf, because of graduation last Friday night, which brings me to graduation. It was a beautiful night. It was very hot when we started, and I think it dropped about 15 degrees as the night went on, and as we were leaving, it was cold. I can't say enough about Mr. Clements and the kids, Mr. Taylor, the guidance staff that helped, the two senior guidance staff that helped them pass out the awards, yourself and Mrs. Pennington were there, Mrs. Collian, and the teachers. I think we had over 35 teachers, 36 teachers there, I believe. It was really nice. We had 2 biliteracy diplomas, the first ever in East Bridgewater history. These are ELL students who not only are proficient in their native language, but now are proficient in the English language, have taken scores of testing to get to that, to get there. And I'm hoping that Dr. Williams, and I think that she'll probably talk about this at some time in the next year, that we will see other students get this certificate or seal on their diploma, and they don't have to be an ELL student to do so. So I think that we really have come a long way in East Bridgewater, and we are doing lots of great things academically with students. I know that my evaluation, and you're going to review the goals and process, but I think that's probably a little bit later when you get to all of you. I would like to thank Sandy Kendrick at the Central School. She will be retiring after our summer program on August 26, 2022. Mrs. Kendrick is outside every day and in the afternoon, and she's always has a smile on, and she's always helping kids. I don't think I've ever seen her not be helpful or supportive for Mrs. Byrne at Central School when I've been here. She also works at the Little Vikings in the summer and the before and after care, and she's all-around good person. So I'm reluctant to take her retirement papers in. However, it's well-deserved. She's a good person, and I wish her the best of luck. And I would like to just remind everyone that our retirees will be here at the next school committee meeting for us to say goodbye and for the school committee to offer their wishes to them. That's about what I have for tonight, and I would move it to Dr. Williams to talk about professional development, our student success survey, and then it goes right into you, Mrs. Pennington.
Can I say one more thing? Well, I just want to reiterate how wonderful graduation was. Please, let Principal Clements and Mr. Taylor know how incredible it was. It was really wonderful to hear the speeches from the students. They were I think every single student talked about how they came up together and how they just really, respected one another and appreciated one another. You saw that, like, the kids were hugging and high-fiving as they went up after each other to do speeches. It was just, It was perfect weather. The Friday night was a great decision, and it was just really lovely. And it went off. The rain held off, went off without a hitch. So happy to be involved. And
we can't believe how just what a good group of kids they were.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, we know they're good, we know we have great kids, but when they are there listening to each other, you know, they might not listen to me, or they might not listen to Ellen, or they may not listen to somebody else, but they really listen to each other, which I thought, and it was the best. I've said this to Dr. Williams at least 6 times since Friday. The band and the chorus were the best I've ever heard them. By far, especially outside. It was awesome. It was really great. So everything came together. And I don't know if that was just because we had more kids down there, or just because they've been together for so long, or really nice night. So you're right, man. I was everything from start to finish.
The year flew by.
Yeah. Dr. Williams?
Great. So in your packets is the professional development plan for the next 3 years. You'll notice that it reflects a lot of the same format as our strategic plan does. So when we developed our professional development plan, of course, we want to make sure that it's aligned to our goals and our vision of our strategic plan. So focusing our professional development around the social emotional needs of our students and our staff, focusing it around the curriculum and assessment needs, but also we have in here our legal requirements, which, you know, entails things that staff would need for recertification. When we negotiated with the staff a number of years ago, in lieu of course reimbursement, that funding is now put towards sending people to professional development training that's more aligned with our goals of our district and our strategic plan. So that way we ensure that the direction that we're moving in as a district, we're supporting our staff and getting the training that they need to work towards that mission as well. So that's the 3-year plan. I didn't know if anyone had any specific questions, but you can see it's set up exactly like a strategic plan, giving you the action and the timeline and those responsible. And then we've attached hours to it, because as we plan out our professional development over the course of the 3 years, we are restricted by time as to what we can provide during the professional development time, but certainly then some of this will be done during principals' times at staff meeting, as well as sending staff out for trainings.
I think it looks great.
Great. And certainly want to give credit to the Professional Development Academy. That was the group of individuals that constructed the plan. And you can see all of their names in the beginning of the plan with equal representation around the district.
May I ask you a question, Gina? On the, let's see, the development plan, opportunities for ongoing support, challenge, and feedback. So after you do a particular session, you get feedback from teachers, yay, nay, what was good, what they liked about it?
Yes.
About it?
Yep,
Oh,
there's
great.
surveys that are provided to staff to let us know. One of the requests was that when their peers are giving training, that that feedback is not something we ask of them, just we didn't want to put them in that
Right.
position, but certainly through conversations, getting some follow-up information, but always getting that feedback from any outside providers that we have.
Thank you. And the no-cost opportunities for professional development include, that was the reference to, doesn't cost them anything to attend. These are things either we provide or are available in general for them
Yes.
to take advantage of?
Yes. So at this point, very rarely are professional development requests denied. The only time we've denied them is when we've decided that a fewer number of people can attend. So if maybe 6 people are looking to go to the same professional development training, we ask that a handful of them attend, and then we provide time for them when they return to share with the group. And it's really just so that we can, broaden the scope of how we're spending the money. But really, the Professional Development Academy was even commenting this year, it was a little low on the professional development, just as far as the request to go out, because we were just getting back to in-person trainings. However, it has provided us with a larger sum of money to provide summer mini work grants for staff, and we have quite a few staff members taking advantage of curriculum work over the summer, so about $10,000 worth of work that they'll be conducting. that they'll get compensated for.
Thank you.
Next is the Student Success Survey. So we've been working over the past couple of months with the Community Coalition for Change, as well as our Unity Club, and just overall, in general, our staff, looking to conduct climate surveys for all of our students throughout the district. This is our hope to have a pattern established annually, so every spring we'll be asking students these same questions so that we have a measure for progress that's being made. So you'll see in your packet the 3 surveys. They're a little bit different than one another given the age and level of our students. So at the central school, it's emojis that the students will be using for their responses. And Mrs. Byrne has coordinated that our guidance staff will be available to sit with students one-on-one, very similar to how we do phonics surveys with students, so that they can help them to navigate through the survey. Grades 3 through 5 have a set of survey questions very similar to our junior-senior high school, just with some vocabulary changed a little bit, but all of the main focus areas are the same. And then Panorama recommends that 6th grade be lumped in with students up to 11th grade. So we have the 3 surveys. It was received by staff today so that staff could see the survey. This is the result of about a week and a half ago. We sent the survey questions out to all staff. The building principal shared them with council members, members of the CCC. Mrs. Sheehan shared it with her Unity Club. We got feedback from staff, just even the wording, the arrangement of the answers. Some of the positive were at the far right, some of the positive were at the far left, so we shifted those around. Really good feedback that we received from both students and staff. And so this is the end result that's shared with staff today, especially staff in the younger grades wanted to have that language ahead of time so that they could explain it to students before the survey was in front of them. And then tomorrow, it's all set to go out through Parent Square to all parents, the letter explaining the survey and giving the parents the survey questions so that they can maybe have some follow-up conversation with their children at home. And then we'll have those results ready to put action steps in place for the fall.
Can I ask 2 quick questions about that? So I think, one is just clarifying, I think we've had this conversation with one of the CCC meetings, but Panorama has the ability to disaggregate. So if we only wanted to, if Jay Fallon wanted to really hone in on students with IEPs or something like that, and their answers, do we have the ability to look at their data only?
Yes, so because this survey is being done through Panorama, grades 3 through 11, Central School will be a little bit different because with the emoji effects, it doesn't get picked up in Panorama. But through Panorama, the surveys are linked to the students' SchoolBrains account. So it will be matched up to their profile from their academics, their attendance, their discipline, whether they're on an IEP or a 504, gender, race, ethnicity, all of that can be pulled from the data.
Great. And I guess my other question would be, I know that we have been part, certainly with COVID, of a discussion of results of surveys that way. Do you have plans to review this with the school community and the action steps that you talked about?
Absolutely. So once we have the information and the results, certainly we'll be reviewing it with staff. We want to also get students involved. And then sharing with parents in the community based on the results, what the action steps are and our plans moving forward over the course of the year. And then we'll want to have a survey next spring to measure the progress.
Great, thanks, Gina.
Thank you. You always give us the results of surveys, don't you?
I try.
Thank you.
Can I mention one?
Well, yeah, go ahead.
It's not about this.
Neither is mine.
Okay. Mine is summer reading. So that email will be going out next week to parents. The theme for this summer is friendship. Trying to lighten it a little bit, but still carry that same theme through of the importance of kindness and accepting of one another. So that information will be going out to parents next week. The selections of books and the work required.
Thank you. Lauren?
I just want to know if there was any further feedback from that What did we
The district target
Yeah,
review?
that one, anything?
Yes. So I heard back from Mary Burns, who was our field rep from AIR. Did I tell you that it bounced back from Desi?
Yes.
Yeah, last
Yeah.
one, yeah.
So Mary did respond to me this week, apologizing for the delay in the response. She said there is a bit of a backlog, and there was some change of personnel, but they're anticipating by the end of July.
Okay.
So at least
Kinda-
a day that we will have it. So hopefully I'll have that to share with everyone, either our first meeting in August or at the start of the school year.
Cool, thank you.
And Gina, I remember you talking about the success of, after last year's summer reading, coming back and doing like a district-wide, we did like a day, right? Is that planned again? I know it was successful last year.
So, two things. One piece that we're adding for the summer is we have, again, with that funding that's left over, because we hadn't sent as many people to professional development, we'll be able to hire staff as facilitators over the summer. So students who are a little bit more reluctant to get that summer reading done, there will be someone designated as their check-in person throughout the summer. So hopefully that will boost the numbers of students participating in the summer reading. And actually having a conversation with Mrs. Byrne today, we were hoping that like National or International Friendship Day happened in like early fall. I think they were both over the summer. But yes, I think.
Friendship Day observed.
Right. There you go. So whether it will be district-wide or building-based, that's still to be determined, but September 14th is tentatively the day right now where all the work will be in and we'll be ready to have a culmination.
That's great, thank you.
Nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody have any questions for Dr. Williams? No more? Okay, good. And up next, we have discussion regarding a school committee policy on distribution of diplomas at the high school graduation ceremony. So, in doing my research, I found that we did have a policy years ago. I spoke with, so Jim Hart, I don't know if you guys know this, but maybe, I think Amanda does. Jim Hardy used to be on our school committee years ago, and he's also a field rep with the MASC now. And so in the early 2000s, we did have a policy on dissemination of diplomas. And speaking with Barbara, that was before her, but she's gonna go back, she keeps things. She has an archive of old policies, so she's gonna go back and try and find that policy, so we can bring it back. We can try and resurrect it. Yeah, because it was already written, so.
Yeah, I think.
And it should probably go to the policy subcommittee first, and then come to the whole committee to discuss and vote and whatever.
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, I think, I brought this up to Ellen too, just because this year, and as it's been the practice, at least since I've been on the committee for 2 years, we have voted to allow folks to hand their diplomas to children, grandchildren, family members. Yeah, we were just saying, you know, it's probably a discussion for the policy subcommittee to see, do we want to resurrect that policy? Do we want to discuss it to be a practice? You know, however we want to determine that. So I think the goal will be the policy subcommittee to think about that. And Barbara, you said Barbara will give us the. Yeah.
Is that okay? And are you here for public comments? Okay, thank you. So we'll skip past that, and,
Ellen,
oh, sorry, what?
she's the parent who wrote you the letter.
Oh, hi. Welcome.
So it's sort of public comment.
Yeah.
So, well, we can skip to that one first, if you guys want to. We can move it up. So we have a request from Mrs. Erica Wells, and at this time, after discussion, I would take a motion, and we'll have discussion after the motion in a second. So I would take a motion on the request from Mrs. Erica Wells to consider allowing her son, Oscar, to begin kindergarten in the fall, even though he does not make the age requirement by August 31st. He will turn 5 on September 8th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Amanda, second by Scott, and discussion. So we have a policy, JEB, entrance age. And so when I wanted to do my due diligence and I looked up the Mass General Law, and actually the Mass General Law is 76-1, not 76-103, so that needs to be fixed. Then I also found that the MASC updated that policy in 2021, so we have to go back and look at that and fix it. But anyway, so our policy, I think Dr. Williams, this was before my time on the committee of why we came up with this. But, so, and the actual law is from, the Mass General Law is an old law because that was before kindergarten was even around or whatever. And so the age of 6 is for first grade. And so that's why it's 5 for kindergarten. But you can speak to your, what you did.
Yeah, so school is required by law as of the age of 6. So that's why the state has only developed an entrance age for 6 years old for first grade. It's mandatory that school districts offer kindergarten. It's not mandatory that families take advantage of kindergarten. Given the entrance age of 6, it only makes sense to have an entrance age for kindergarten that would mirror that. So I believe Barbara Polisi looked it up today, and maybe it was about 2010 when we made that adjustment for entrance age for students to be eligible for kindergarten as of August 31st. I believe it was just cleared up maybe last year or the year before. It was by September 1st. Which caused some confusion because as soon as you start talking about the month of September, the lines get a little blurred. So to have August as that clear indication of cutoff, you know that you won't have any students who have September birthdays attending kindergarten in that year. For the last 28 years that I've been in the system, we always have students who are very close. And it does become individualized when you start having conversations about the readiness of a kindergarten student, knowing we have no background information on that student, and the assessments that we give students, the entrance assessments, don't measure maturity or social emotional readiness. It's really just academic readiness.
And since you've been here, to your knowledge, we've never.
No, not to my knowledge, no.
Yeah.
The only time exceptions have been made is when students were living in another district. I believe Brockton might still be December 31st. And in the middle of the year, the family has moved, and we would never have a student go back or be removed from school if transitioning from one school district to the next. So that's the only exception, that, to my knowledge. Well, that is the only exception because it was only my knowledge.
Just a reminder that Dr. Williams was the principal at Central School. Susan Cody was the superintendent at that time when this policy came into effect. Dr. Williams and Susan Cody, both early childhood teachers, and that's where their masters lie. And obviously, Dr. Williams' doctorate is in early ed. That's why I'm deferring to her on the policy.
Yeah, I think the language in the policy is solely at the school's discretion, so that's what I would.
And now it has come, it's going, so they said, you guys did, Dr. Williams, you did say no to the parent.
I don't know if this request went to the school. I don't know about this specific request. The language has, I don't think the language always said it was at the school's discretion. I believe that language is new from the most recent revision of the policy. I don't know.
Yeah. I called everywhere. I called the superintendent's office. They told me to write the letter to you all. So I never written that letter to anyone else. So it did go straight to you. That's what I was told. I brought him I didn't know if somebody should see him, so you can ask him anything, and it's just, I just wanted you to meet him. I wanted to come and explain everything. I understand the policy. It's just, my fear is that he is going to get bored. He's very advanced. I can get you doctor's letters. I can get you his pre-K note. They said she would write a note. She said she would come here. He's ready. He's mature enough. Do you want to come say hi? He knows, he can read above level. He knows math like I can't believe. He knows everything about the solar system. He's ready for school.
100 plus 15.
No, don't have to do math.
In kindergarten readiness, I agree with you 100%. Has changed substantially as to what students know coming into kindergarten, just because of the exposure piece. And I think that's the number one reason why, over the past 5 to 10 years, we keep increasing our preschool opportunities. Preschool always was just a half day, 2 days a week for 3-year-olds, 3 days a week for 4-year-olds. And that has expanded now that 4-year-olds can have 5 days a week of preschool, because we know they can handle it. They've, more often students are in daycare settings at a younger age with more, working parents. And now they're able to, in preschool, expose them to the academics that they wouldn't have traditionally got prior to coming to kindergarten.
Okay. I understand. Yeah, I work at Massasoit, so I know I've worked close with the president. I've shown videos of him doing math and just everything he is doing, and they just told me, they keep pushing me to reach out to see if he can start kindergarten. If not, maybe get him assessed somewhere. So I don't even know if you guys don't approve this, if you can give me some options on getting him assessed, or my fear is just he'll get bored. And that's the preschool fear as well.
Right, and so what would you want the assessment to be used for?
I mean, I don't even know if he starts school, is there a chance that he may be pushed ahead? And if not, that's fine too. I don't know, people are just saying get him assessed to see if he can start kindergarten early, or start at maybe a Montessori school, or something like that.
Right.
But I mean, I just moved to East Bridgewater. I grew up in Brockton. I have an older son. He's in 6th grade, and just the thought of keeping him in pre-K for another year is just,
Was he in pre-K at Brockton?
No.
Okay.
He was in a daycare.
Okay.
Yeah, a home daycare, and she had to close, so I put him in a pre-K here.
Is he in our pre-K program?
No, not here. I had to find a new one right away. I was in transition moving here, so
okay.
it was another daycare, pre-K I put him in. Little Discoveries, the Abington branch.
So you didn't speak with the principal of the central school, the principal of the elementary school? Yeah.
I called, and I've called everywhere. There was one school that would take him because his birthday is the day after their first day of school, but it was a private school, and they were very, I went to a Catholic school, but they were very focused on the Bible, and it was just, it was a little weird. And they would have taken him because of this first day of school, but I didn't speak to it. When I did call, and they said, well, we have a policy and we can't waive it. And that's what mostly everyone said.
So that's, okay, so that was my question. I wasn't sure if you contacted them or not. Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to send mom bouncing back and forth.
Right, nothing's worse than the runaround.
Right, and so I know in speaking with Mrs. Burns, she would like to uphold the policy, knowing that every year there's a handful of students who parents advocate for that consideration. Even this year alone, we have students with September 2nd birthdays, September 4th birthdays, and as soon as you move that age, there's kind of no stopping. But preschool, definitely, if you are interested in more of an academic 5 days a week setting, certainly that is something Central School does offer.
If I can, I'll tell you, my kiddo entered preschool, and his eval in the beginning was all the things expected when they're done. Okay. And he still thrived. He learned all the social stuff, everything within the preschool setting here at the Central. It feels like the new kindergarten to a parent.
Okay.
When they're in that preschool level, they're challenged in that way. The teachers are meeting them where they're at in that way. I was so pleased with that preschool experience. But I also wanted to say that I knew that I was going to say, okay, upholding the policy felt important in terms of not shifting things too much. But I felt you all over the letter, and I just really commend you as a mom for advocating for your kiddo.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
And I don't want to overstep here, but as an employee of Massasoit, is there an affiliation with Brockton Public Schools for, I know employees of Brockton Public Schools, their children can attend the school district? Is that
No,
reciprocal?
there isn't.
Okay.
And I'm not a resident of Brockton anymore, so I don't know how that would.
Yeah, no, I know like employees who don't live in Brockton, but as employees of Brockton Public Schools, their children can attend the school district, so I didn't know if that was.
At least not that I've heard, but I haven't heard that. Okay.
Have we denied any children that have requested something similar this upcoming school year?
No student has been able to enroll in kindergarten that has not met the age requirement.
So we've never made an accommodation in the past?
The only accommodations are students who have moved in from another district and already began the school year somewhere else.
I know it's not a state law, this August 31st. I know I grew up in Quincy, and I went to school, I was December when I turned 5.
Yep,
Went
Brockton
to
still
college
is
at
December
17.
31st.
I turned okay.
Yep.
You seem smarter than I am now, so I mean, I don't want to create something where every year now we're going to have a bunch of parents come with 2 weeks and 4 weeks and it
Right.
grow. Then you do think 8 days, and then it's 357 days of 5 years old waiting, but I'd be more curious if the last 2, 3, 5 years we've allowed anything at all, if it's always been 8:31 or 9.
No.
Just for that exact reason, where would it stop?
Right.
And, what is the accurate measure of kindergarten readiness, knowing it's not just academics?
What's your son's name?
His name is Oscar.
Oscar.
Oscar, come here.
Hey, Oscar. What's your sweatshirt say? Oh, future hero. What's a hero, Oscar?
He is.
He's like,
Philosophical question.
Just point to yourself, that's good.
Hero. Do you know what a
Yeah.
hero is?
Mrs. Wells, if I may, we do have a 5-day pre-K. It is the new K. And I know it's hard for you to get a grasp because you see him. I would, you live in the district. I'm not sure, I just asked Dr. Williams because we haven't seen the numbers yet. If that full day, 5-day is full. It is a full 5, when I say it's a full 5 days, if you have, I go there an awful lot because I need to go there. I need to smile once in a while. And it's a really great place to go because you get to see learning at that level and inquisitive and just thought-provoking. Just think about it and, maybe apply to our 5-day pre-K. Okay. And again, once you get in there, if there is that notion that it's not rigorous enough and it's not what he needs, then you can look for another option.
Okay.
But, the 5-day pre-K is
Even Mr. Shea just said, setting up an opportunity to visit.
Right.
even Before, I think they still have another
They
couple
get
of
another-
weeks
yeah.
before school ends.
Right.
So maybe even seeing, what they're doing in the preschool program.
And Mrs. Byrne will certainly, I was actually with her today, and I even asked her about this, and again, the resident expert, Dr. Williams, Kate and I talked about it for a few minutes, and she was like, if we move it, this is what's going to happen. I said, I understand that, we talked about you and your son, and we talked, I showed her the letter.
I appreciate it.
Dr. Williams, again, we had the conversation up here. I think that would be a great idea, to go take a look at our preschool.
Okay.
You can certainly call my office, and we can set it up, or you can call Mrs. Byrne. When I leave here tonight, I can get a hold of her and say they're going to be giving her a call, just to go over and take a look at the school. Central School is a special place, and I think once you get in there, when you take a look, it's a different place. And the teachers are terrific, and the principal is great. Not the greatest. but great.
I picked very close. And with it being in the central school, it really gets students acclimated to the academic programming. They have the reading series that aligns with our K-2 reading series, even when I mentioned the summer reading and the student climate surveys. Preschool are part of all of those experiences as if they were, our kindergarten, first and second grade students. So it does really help to get students acclimated to the academic programming that we have for our students as they make their way through central school.
There's no napping in pre-K. There's some downtime. I know, some people say, oh, well, they nap, they this. If you go over there, there's some downtime. When they come back, they have some downtime, but I can tell you, it's not, I can say this, once in a while, you might see somebody fall asleep, but most of the time, it's just a downtime for them. Just everybody relax and stay by yourself for a minute and just get your thought,
Get a book.
Yep, get a book. They settle down, and I think you might find it something that you may want to try. And if you would like to, I will tell Mrs. Byrne that you're going to give her a call.
Yeah.
And set it up. I don't know what your timeframes are or whatever, but we'll call her and tell her that you're going to come over, and I'll give her your name and this and that, and Mrs. Harvey will call over there and say, Mrs. Harvey, I was at the school committee last night, and they said I could come over and take a look at the preschool.
Okay.
The 5-day program. Mrs. Gorham teaches the 5-day, one of the teachers. That's a room to look into,
Okay.
just so you can see.
All right.
And this would be your first experience with Central, right? Because your older son came into town already at Mitchell, right? Yeah.
You came in this year,
I came in last year, like,
end of?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, I appreciate it. I understood about, the rules, and I said, well, this is just going to open the doors for everyone. It's going to be September 8th, September 9th. But I just wanted to try.
No, I echo Becky's sentiments. I understand, and I love that you are a parent's a child's number one advocate. And I applaud you for doing what you wanted, what you felt was necessary.
I don't want him to go to college any sooner. I want him to
It will happen in a blink of an eye.
I think that's
No, I think it's yes, it's a very valid concern, but I think,
Take a look at Central.
yeah, I think Central will be,
And as you stated, as far as, when he enters kindergarten, we have diagnostic testing. So if he's ready to learn more and beyond what is typically, that will happen. And the reason why we give the diagnostic testing 3 times a year is to make sure that we're not keeping them at the level that they've already acquired. So he would have opportunities to work beyond what would typically be the grade level expectations.
I think he wants to sing now.
Yeah. You can come to all the meetings a little bit.
All right, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
So much.
All right, bye, Oscar.
Goodbye. Say it louder.
One of his magnets is there.
Only person who's excited to be, that's excited to be at a school committee.
Take a cookie before, there's cookies if you want him to have a cookie on the little.
he's like, yeah. That's the one thing he's been like.
Can't wait for that cookie.
Oh, I spotted him on the way in.
Yes.
And then we can just,
I'm saying.
we can, I think we're gonna drop, we don't need the motion or the second. We can drop the motion, amend it to drop it.
Or we could move to uphold the policy.
Sure, yeah, that's good. That works.
I mean,
I move to uphold the policy.
yeah, policy JEB,
Yeah, JEB, JEB.
entrance age.
Seconded? I mean, oh my God, so moved? Sure, sorry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Did you say that you'll be revisiting that policy to update it with something?
No, that was a different, that was a different
Yeah.
policy.
That was the handout.
But this one, there's a couple, the source material has been updated for this policy,
Yeah,
I
you
think,
did
and that's
say
what.
that. Oh, did I?
needs- Yeah, I think that's what needs to be updated.
I just.
Oh, not to update. Oh, I would totally show you. If there's any verbiage, I think, I didn't look at the verbiage to compare because MASC said that, when I looked quickly at theirs, they updated it in 2021, but I didn't look to compare, but I will go back and look. But I know that this Mass General Law 76 how it says, Chapter 76, Section 103. There is no Section 103, it's only Section 1. So that was a typo somewhere along the way, so that has to
I was
be
just
fixed.
going to speak to the more specific language within there, as far as talking with Mrs. Byrne, and I know myself as a former building administrator, like, we don't want that level of responsibility, that it's at the building level discretion, because then this happens, where a parent comes to
Right.
the building, feels that, they don't agree with the answer, it's always to go to the next level, so.
But I don't think it should be a school committee decision either. I mean, we're not,
Superintendent's level.
I mean, we're not in a position to at all understand a student's readiness for kindergarten, and I wouldn't feel comfortable.
Well, it says in the
making that
Mass General
decision.
Law,
Right.
it says local decision. So it would end up falling back on us if the Mass General Law says it's local decision, they could come back to us because we're like the leaders of the school district, even though the administrators and the superintendent run the school. Like,
And
they could
just to
say
be
no, but then
clear,
it's gonna come back to us.
The school doesn't make that decision either. Students have screening, but they all get in.
Right.
So it's really just what do we need to focus on? Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe a student who might have a deficit coming in, paying closer attention to that. So I think it's misleading when students go to kindergarten screening, parents are thinking like, are you going to get in? Will you be able to, and the staff aren't measuring, whether they're ready for kindergarten. It's really just an opportunity to get to meet them and get kind of a preview of what their needs are. So, as much as we think like, oh, the central school are the experts in determining, they're not determining. They're using the age, the entrance age as their determining factor, and they use that screening as just kind of that first opportunity to get to know the student, so.
Yeah, and I think we'll have to take a look if there's any updated language, the policy subcommittee.
Right.
Take a look.
Yeah, so if we take a look anyway, then that's something we can discuss.
Yeah.
At that time, and figure out what the right.
Great.
I think any policy change is just going to open up the same can of worms.
Yeah.
You bump it to 10-1, it's going to be someone from 10-15, or
Yeah.
any date you get, someone's going to.
Yeah, and I agree with the date. I agree with the date staying the way it is. I think there's just language in there about the at the building principal's discretion to alter that,
It says, it says, will be solely at the school's discretion.
to alter that entrance age.
The admission of children whose birthdays fall after August 31st will be solely at the school's discretion.
Does that have to even be
Oh, but it
said?
says after.
Yeah, so that would be like this example here, that if the parent contacted the school and said, they're September 15th, I'd like them to start the school, with this policy, the school could allow students to enter.
Does it have to be said at all, or can it just be a date, period?
Can it just be that this is what we do? This is the
Right,
district's.
that's very clear, there's no gray when it's just.
Leave it up to no discretion, like
Right.
this is it.
Right.
So maybe
Right.
that's something to remember
Right.
for
It doesn't
later.
seem it needs to be
It's hard,
included if we're
it's-
not going to waive it.
I do feel like
Yeah.
if a family has lived in another district, that their entrance age was different from that. I would hate to see a student be in kindergarten until like February, and then the family moves to East Bridgewater, and we say, well, our entrance age was.
Maybe we can explore,
Maybe that's why it says,
Yeah.
maybe we can explore the possibility of making it that specific.
Right.
Like unless a student has already entered kindergarten in a different district. Because I agree, why would, you wouldn't
Right.
say, sorry, kid,
Right.
you don't get to go to school anymore.
Oh, we're gonna put you back.
It's like against every, no, that's,
Is there a cost for 5-day pre-K?
Yes.
yes.
I mean, reminder, kindergarten is unfunded. We offer it to the district free of charge because we want children in kindergarten. We feel it is the appropriate step for first grade. Right now, in the legislation, they have pre-K going in and not kindergarten. So, I mean, it's backwards, and I think a lot has to do with, childcare and things like that, getting kids in a structured environment, and, so that they know that the child is safe and that he's learning and he's in a structure, he or she is in a structured environment. It's very difficult just for a principal.
Yep.
When a parent calls, and the parent calls and talks to the secretary of the school, and the secretary says, no, we don't take kids before, and then, but you can call the superintendent's office. my assistant answers the phone and says, no, we have a policy on that, you would have to go to the school committee. And that's why MASC puts this out like this, and we just added our dates in there.
Can I ask, oh, sorry.
Sure, go ahead.
This just makes me think, though, that any policy that says at the building's discretion can then come to us. So how do we, because a lot of these decisions, this, is about the functioning of the district, who can come in and who come out, but like the example of the diploma, I do not think that is like a fundamental discussion that a school, that doesn't matter about the functioning of the district, which is my thought of the goal of the school committee. So anyway, that's just I know
agree.
that subcommittee's gonna have that discussion, but.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I don't agree that, MASC helps the governing body of the school committees write policies. We can call there, you don't have to write your own policy, you can call, they've got a policy for everything, and then you fine tune it to your district. That's what this was. This policy was finely tuned by this district. Prior to me, it must have come up, and it was probably coming up a lot, because at that time, we were paying for kindergarten, and it was probably coming up, and at some point, Dr. Williams and Dr. Cody said, listen, we should sit down and really look at a policy. Probably, MASC said, what, this is the policy? I don't know who was the school committee chair at the time. They said, we'd like to do this and hold to this date. And that's probably what happened. I agree with the diplomas.
Yeah.
I think it's because school committees always handed out the diplomas. Not every school district has the school committee hand out the diplomas. Some school districts say the superintendent, some say the principal.
I guess we've been doing it in this district at least since 2000. Because that was when Jim Hardy was on, he said he remembers handing out the diplomas because he remembers having the policy.
Sure, I'm just saying that
Yeah, we can make.
every school district is different. These are just, these are boilerplate policies that were put together, and then they say, here's a boilerplate. This is okay by the law. Now you put in what you want and mold it. If you get rid of it and write your own policy, that's when you call Mr. Dominello and say, does this policy fit? I guess that's.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there any access to scholarships for the pre-K programs? Or any resources? I'm sorry if it's a can of worms, I just was curious.
Currently, no.
We do look at some children who, if a family has an older child and they have free and reduced lunch, we do look at that.
Right.
Or if a parent comes in and has a,
Yeah.
not all the time. We don't have a policy on it, but if it was a family who was up on hard times or needed some help.
And it's an integrated model, so certainly students who qualify for preschool would not be charged because they would need it according to their plan.
Right.
Thank you.
So we'll just go back to the action items in order. Action is required. So I take a motion to approve accounts payable warrant 49 SV dated June 1st, 2022.
So moved.
Moved by Amanda.
Second?
Second by Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. And I would take a motion to approve accounts payable warrant 50 PS dated June 8th, 2022.
So moved.
Moved by Amanda.
Second?
Second by Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And I would take a motion after discussion to allow school committee members who held a position within the 21-22 school year to be permitted to complete the end-of-cycle summative evaluation report on the superintendent.
So moved.
Moved by Amanda.
Second.
Second by Lauren. And discussion is, so I'm assuming you all received the email that I sent with the legal opinion earlier this mid-afternoon. I just want to point out one thing is that, so our attorney was out of state yesterday, which is why we didn't receive it yesterday, and then he got it to me this afternoon, and I check my email many times a day, and so, you got it within 5 or 10 minutes of me checking my email, and I sent it right away, and I sent a text to make sure that you all saw the email. So, that was anybody, well, and we're not supposed to discuss what was in the legal opinion.
I just have,
How were we not supposed to discuss what was in the legal?
From the attorney, because it violates attorney-client privilege. It talked about that in the memo.
So I can't ask for clarification on what this means in this meeting? Okay.
Sorry.
So I'm just gonna say that this is contradictory to me. It says things and I don't understand where it's coming from. And that's why I emailed you back. We got this at 4 o'clock this afternoon, and I haven't had time to read it. I haven't had time to ask for clarification on it. It was after the MASC had closed for the day, so I haven't had time. I mean, I don't understand what this says enough to really take it into consideration. I had things underlined that I wanted to ask about for clarification, but I guess I can't do that.
Can I just interject? I don't know what you got, because I don't get that. I have no idea what you're talking about. However, unless it's pertinent to this, I don't know. You can call Ellen directly, or you could call, I mean, it should go through the chair to call the attorney. However, if you call Ellen directly and ask her questions singular, you can, or you can ask Ellen to say, I'm going to call the attorney. Do you have any problems with that? No.
Right, but my point is, we got this at 4 o'clock this afternoon. That's the only thing. We got it at 4 o'clock, and we had,
Doesn't go through me.
I mean, there was zero time for me. I barely had a chance to read it
What's his legal
before.
opinion on whether we should permit previous school committee members to fill out the evaluation?
Yes, I wouldn't know that, and
Right, and my only point is the timing of it really kind of stinks, because like I said, I could have called Ellen if I had gotten it earlier and had a minute to do that, but I literally was already against the clock when this came in, and...
I mean, today's Tuesday, you have time. I mean, you could call it quits right now. I'm just saying, you could call it quits and come back around.
But we need to have we need to have everyone's evaluation by next week.
I'm saying, you could come back around and have the vote on Thursday.
How does everyone
You have 24
feel?
hours.
Do we,
well,
I'm just
can
saying.
I say one other thing? Sorry. So knowing this was on the agenda, I had remembered in my
Charting the course.
charting the course, and I think I was part of last fall, a superintendent evaluation workshop put on by MASC. I thought I remembered that this is permissible. My research on the MASC website, if you look up superintendent evaluation, there is a guide. On page 12 of the guide, it says that let me couch this in. Right now, we know we are off cycle in terms of timing of the evaluation cycle. So I think taking that into context is important. But this happened my last year as well, which meant that 4 of the 6 committee members were participating in the evaluation, both last year and this year. That's concerning to me, and I think, I have voiced in a public meeting, and definitely to Ellen, that we know, especially now that we have a subcommittee, evaluation subcommittee, that we want to get on a better cycle moving forward next year. What the MASC guidelines say that when we have a cycle that does not coincide with elections, it is useful to consider what happens if the composition of the committee changes during the cycle, that members stepping off the committee can prepare an individual evaluation that cover the period up until the point they leave the committee, and this can become part of the composite. Members that join the committee partway through may also contribute to the evaluation based on the time they have been on the committee. Members may choose not to participate depending on how up to speed they feel, or they may decide to participate in part or fully participate. Anyway, my thought with this is it is up to our discretion whether or not we do have a former member who has asked to be part of the evaluation, which is, I think, my understanding of why we're taking the vote. So putting that in context, I just want everyone to know that was what I had heard. That was my understanding. So it is permissible for us to
and speaking
do
with
this.
Mr. Kuchar at the MASC, he said it might be in there, but it's not, he does not recommend it. He was,
Then why, so here's the thing, it's in there, And I remember when I attended charting the course, I had a light bulb moment at that, for some reason, I don't know why. So it was one of the things that stuck with me through that. And I think it's important to take in all pieces of information before making a decision, which is why I think I would like to understand this. I want to understand what this means before I make a decision. Because I would hate to make a decision based on, yes, I see this, and this is what I agree with, without fully understanding what this means. And so that's,
So I guess I'm gonna make a motion within a motion, I guess, I don't know, to ask who wants, what my end result is, I wanted to find out who wants to, table this, or who wants to vote to, who wants to vote to wait, who wants to vote to, let me see if I can word
can
it.
I ask a question of the committee, or is that against the rules?
Go ahead.
You're in discussion. You're in discussion, you can keep.
Does anybody understand what this says?
I do. Do you? Gordon does.
I understood it as a new member. I understood it to the best of my ability as a member who's in her second meeting, and not ever evaluated the superintendent before. It left me curious of the process. I don't feel like I'm a good assessor of what is best in this scenario today.
I feel like it would be setting a precedent too, because we've never done this, we've never done it, and that would be setting a precedent going forward.
It doesn't have to set a precedent, because I think from what Amanda said and what I had already been thinking, we already acknowledged that the cycle is off. And that's something that
Yeah.
we do the evaluation, we get through this year, and then we start the new year with a new cycle that fits better with the election cycle.
So if the cycle hadn't have been
So we
off,
don't have,
this wouldn't be a situation?
Yes.
And we
Oh, okay.
can, once we
Okay.
align the cycle, we can make a determination at that point of what would happen. My other question is.
But in the
could
past, we
wait,
started the
wait,
timeline earlier. We
Well,
started
yes,
the
but
time.
Right, but we know that this year has not been normal from the beginning as far as the superintendent's evaluation is concerned.
May I make a suggestion? Can we talk through the process first before we make a determination of whether we need to table this until a later time? Can we
Sure, go ahead,
pause
sure.
this
That
motion?
sounds great.
Just because I think it might give some more context to folks who haven't been part of the process before.
Sure.
Is that okay?
I think that's awesome.
The only issue is this is our second to last meeting. So
Oh, right.
we can't table too much because we'll be tabling it till the fall. And I think when you have, I always found odd this committee, you get voted in April and you go to your first meeting, you attend 3 and you take the summer off.
Yeah.
Or past members don't finish the year. So I think in this instance, if we had followed, I would think a more normal protocol where the new school committee starts September 1 or so, this person would still be on the active committee and would have a voice in this discussion. But the other side of it, not to talk out of both sides of my mouth, but if you're not in the committee anymore, you shouldn't vote on future things because you're not in the committee anymore. So I'm personally am ready to vote now. This is a legal opinion from our lawyers. I can disagree with opinions, I can agree with opinions. I have my feelings about this opinion, but I personally am prepared to vote on this right now, because I know we have a time limit we want to adhere to put this vote in for the evaluation. I don't want to add more things to delay.
Let me also say that this isn't a future decision. This is it would be based on, if it were Tim or Trista, for example, their time since last evaluation, last June, since from that year on until May, what was election date, 13th, their experience. But yeah, I was just saying to table it to, for us to go over tonight, the process, to see if that helped clarify anything, but.
It would help me if I have a question about, right? So am I actively participating in Liz's evaluation, having been a member since sworn in on May 17th?
Well, you could, because you're on the committee, so
Right.
you could.
And if I don't, I could excuse myself, and then there's 5 people doing an evaluation
Correct.
for Liz, or 4, whatever, right?
Right.
Like whatever Gordon does, right? So it means potentially there's not a full committee evaluating Liz.
Which is what happened last year as well, because we were also
Right.
off cycle. Again, and
But if we
again,
vote yes on this, could theoretically someone come and say, well, I was on the committee 2 years ago, and this is a 3-year window?
No, because we're only evaluating on
the last year,
the evaluation period.
Just this last year.
Yes.
and the time that they served on the school committee during that evaluation period.
Right, so even Gordon and Rebecca wouldn't be able to include anything from before the election.
Right, so I would.
In their materials,
These
which
three
is why basically.
Mr. Chair, the motion is out there. You have the ability to go forward with the vote, and the board has the ability to say yes or no. This is what often happens when an impasse comes, and it might not go through tonight that this moves forward. I just wanted to put that out there because I've been on this for a long time.
Madam Chair.
We didn't talk about the thing, so we could,
The motion is on the table, is
You
what
can
she's, what
take
she
a
said.
vote
now if you'd like.
well, part of the discussion was, so does everyone, let's see if my mouth can work with my brain. Does everybody want, so Amanda brought up the part where, going over the process. So does everyone want, before we vote, do you want to go over the process, or do you want to vote first?
Do we have to vote first, and then could we take the vote again? Is that how this should work, Joanne?
Well, we
This is
could.
still in the discussion phase. If you want to continue to discuss how you
We can.
do this, that's absolutely permissible. But I just wanted to put it out there that you can vote on this tonight.
Gotcha, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's, if it's okay, we go through a little bit of the process, and then we'll.
Is everybody good with that?
Yes?
Just for the record, I feel clear, just with the few questions I've asked and understanding that I'm looking at Liz for a few weeks in my mind, right? Like,
Yes.
Like, right, like, it's very clear to me. I don't have a ton of other questions of the process at this point.
Or is there nothing to discuss about the process then?
Which process are you talking about? Are you talking about the one that MASC has us follow? That process?
No, the stuff that Liz gave us, and the standards and indicators, because you had that little list.
And our goal over the next 3 weeks, whatever it is, 2 weeks.
No,
Sorry.
2 weeks.
2 weeks,
it's coming up quick.
that process. And if understanding that process helps to make the decision of whether or not. It's your call, Madam Chair.
I just wish that I had the opportunity to ask questions and point out what I saw as inconsistencies in this legal opinion. Because I truly do not understand how it can say one thing in one paragraph, but then say a completely different thing in another paragraph. So.
I think that's lawyers.
Right, but I didn't get a chance to clarify anything. So I don't even feel comfortable voting on this right now. Because I don't understand what this means. And I thought I was kind of a smart lady, but
You are.
I guess, reading this, I'm totally confused.
Just so you understand,
So-
that anytime you want Nick Dominello to be at your meeting, you can call him in, and he'll be here. I mean, I said that a
And
week
so this
ago
was
if this
something
was
he
going to
said,
be.
we couldn't go into executive session about it, and for him, he wouldn't give us legal advice in an open public meeting.
No, but he could have been here.
He could have been here, but. he
And I don't
may-
think my clarification questions would have constituted legal advice. I wouldn't have been asking him, we wouldn't have been asking him the question that led to this. I would have just saying, well, you say in this paragraph this, but it says in this paragraph this. So can you explain how those two things mesh? I don't know. I mean, maybe by noon tomorrow I'll have a better understanding of it, but.
If there wasn't a lawyer's opinion to consider, would you have your opinion?
Yes, I would. Because my opinion was based on what I knew from charting the course.
Okay.
Because I was honestly, when I learned that at charting the course, I remember being surprised that former committee members that we had replaced did not submit anything. And I know, I believe there are limits as to what you can use their information for, but I was just surprised that they had had the opportunity and didn't take advantage of it. But I feel kind of funny. I don't know.
Then I just want to throw out there, if we did have them do it, then we wouldn't be able to ask them questions, they wouldn't be able to communicate with us, it would just be cut and dry, just written paper, that's it, no questions asked, no input, no verbal anything. I just want to put that out there. You want to take a vote? Amanda, you said yes.
Can I ask,
Yes.
Ellen, if they did share that and there was no back and forth about it, it was just them providing their thoughts, who sees it? All of us?
It goes to well, they're public documents, so anybody could see it.
Okay.
But then the superintendent evaluation subcommittee would compile, and then it goes on, and then so the superintendent would see it, because she sees all the individual ones, and then, so we take the compiled one and we go to the open public meeting, and we give her evaluation in our next open meeting. So that, heard that.
Obviously, of the three fundamental areas of responsibility we have, budget, policy, and, oh, by the way, superintendent evaluation and supervision, this is pretty key. This isn't some, making a decision about kindergarten start date or whatever. So I think this is pretty important, and to me, to have a committee member who needs some questions answered, I'm totally flexible. I agree with Becky. I've only been on the committee for a couple of weeks. I shouldn't do one of these evaluations. That would be nuts. To me, that's how I think about it. But if one of the remaining committee members has a question, I'd do whatever we could to try to answer the question as best you could, whether it's now or table it and come back to the table 3 or 4 days from now, so that you feel comfortable with, okay, I understand it now, I agree with it, I don't agree with it, and you can move forward. So that's just my thought.
So then, do you guys want to schedule another meeting at that? I mean, like, that's what you're saying, you want to have, you think that we should get Lauren's answer? Or make her feel comfortable, or whatever, find out the information that she wants.
I mean, we're on a tight timeline. I'm not sure we have the time for that. And that's part of why I'm a little bit upset about the timing of all of this.
Can I just, they're arbitrary, I mean, in my contract, this is all off. You're all off on the time limit in my contract. And I spoke to the chair and the vice chair the other day. We don't have a contentious problem. We're working together to make a district better. I have no problem if you want to say, Liz, can we all get together at the end of July? Nothing can happen legally to anybody on June 30th. So I agree with you. I'm just telling you, legally, nothing's going to happen. I mean, if you don't do my evaluation, I still belong to you, whether it's June 13th or June 23rd or July 23rd, and you could say right now, Liz, can we bump this out a month so we can all be really clear and get this done right? And then next year, let's do it by April or whatever the new time frame is. And if Tim and Trista are going to weigh in, then Tim and Trista are going to weigh in. That's, to me, we have a good district. I have a great team. We're moving the district in the right direction. I would hope that if there was an issue or those types of things come up, then it should be known to me way prior to the night of discussing an evaluation or to that. I would have known 6 months ago, we would have talked about it, we would know where we're at. So to me, for the chair to say, hey, I'd like to go out another month, or I'd like to go out another 4 weeks, or like 3 weeks. Liz, do you have any problems with that? I feel that if you're not comfortable, then you're not comfortable. I say, Liz, we'd like to work another 3 weeks with you. I don't have any problems with that. We wouldn't do it to a child. We're a school. And like to say, I'm not comfortable. If you're not comfortable, it's not going to come out the right way.
Yeah, I mean, I could sit here and vote the way I thought I would have before I saw this, but I don't necessarily, because I don't want to wake up in the morning and read this after 2 cups of coffee and be like, oh, shoot. Right.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think there's cause for panic to get it done. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, if you want more time, take more time. I can handle that.
What does everybody want to do? I'm good either way.
I think pushing out the timeline would be helpful to give us, time to understand the question, to be able to make an informed decision on this vote, and also take time to really understand the process as it is right now, because that's also going to inform how we want to set it up next year. That's my personal opinion.
If we do, we would have, because this was something that I had asked Nick too, that he would just amend the contract to, because it says we have to give you your evaluation by June 30th, so we would just amend it to change the date.
Madam Chair, it also said that we were supposed to do my goals last year in June. I accepted when you asked me in March, when the committee asked me in March to do my goals, and I did my goals, because I don't believe there's a contentious partnership here. I believe we're a partner. I believe we're working for EB and the best of EB. So, like I said, Tim said at one time, it's COVID, we're going like this. We're out of COVID now. Okay, we got caught up in a lot of other things. Things got caught up. It is your job to evaluate me. It's your job to come to me. I was doing lots of other things and feeling as if I'm going through school committees, you know what we're doing, and as we talked today. It's all off. But I'm saying, I'm giving you the opportunity to say, let's get back together, let's work as a team, and let's get an eval done. If it comes July 5th, it comes July 5th. And we would amend it. I speak to Mr. Dominello pretty much on a weekly basis right now, doing some other things and I didn't talk to him today, so.
So is there a motion to table this action item?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we table.
But,
now we should figure out what the timeline is.
right, yeah, we shouldn't just leave it out there. We should say, okay, whether it's, I don't know, do we have a meeting scheduled in July? No.
Next week, 2 weeks from now is our last schedule, right?
Okay.
We'd have a meeting a week. You know what I mean? You could go the next 3 weeks in a row if you wanted it.
Right.
And Nick Dominello could be at one of your meetings, is what I'm saying. You could go the next 3 weeks. I don't know, how many weeks do we have left in June?
We have
And it could- and-
three additional weeks, yeah.
And John, you won't have to come to the last one.
Why would he only not?
So do we add
I need you.
I think, can we,
do we add a meeting for next week also? Because
I just said that just to put that out there.
we could add a meeting for next week, and then we still have our June 21st meeting.
but we would not have to do all of our individual evaluations and the compiled evaluation by the 21st. 1 week is way too short. So no matter what, I think we would ask to have a meeting after the 21st, sorry.
So there's the
Oh, yeah, I was looking,
The
then
28th?
there's the 28th, yeah. We could do
If we
the
have a meeting
20th.
next week, we still would have a 2-week timeline.
But you could go every week if you wanted to. You'll have the,
Yeah.
I'll just keep uploading.
We'll need a meeting next week to give time for Lauren to get clarification on the lawyer's opinion. Then we'd need a meeting on the 21st to present our
So Nick won't give us,
evaluations.
he won't give us advice in an open meeting.
He wasn't, no,
Oh.
I can talk to you, I don't need a meeting to
She just needs time.
get clarification, I just need time to get the clarification. And then at the next meeting, we could vote, that could be the only agenda item, we could vote, and then, we pick up where we left off, just off by a week, which stinks, but
But we have the
Do it with his will, his
materials
way.
a week ahead of time, for another week. Liz has given us the materials for the evaluation, so at least we have those for a week.
right, so at least the committee members that know that they're going to participate at least have the information that they need.
I'm just curious, again, I'm out of this cycle anyway, but, so what goals are you going to be evaluated on? The ones you presented in March of this year?
It's all in here, right?
Right.
Do you want to, can we review the goals and then go in the timeline? Is that okay?
Yeah, yep. Superintendent?
Sure. The leadership goal was on student learning, which was goal 1, would be work directly with the building principals to ensure teachers and students develop skills and strategy development to support learning by using data-related assessments. We use iReady, and we're using MCAS.
Can I just, to clarify, I don't think this was not in our physical copies from today.
Do you need this?
Just the materials. Do you have?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I don't have that either.
I printed them out. But, okay, let me pass them along.
For you?
Oh, you definitely got this. I can pass them on.
Yep. Okay, I'll keep mine.
You don't have everything.
Thank you.
Oh, I almost just wrote on you.
If Lily is staying, we're staying.
Well, you could go. You don't have to stay. Dr. Williams wants to go, so it's, she's waiting for you to leave. If you leave, if you leave, she can go.
Oh, Lily, you don't have to stay. You probably have tons of homework.
Homework, it's the last.
No, but don't you, there's still tests.
Or something better to
Pick out your Disney outfit. There's a lot of things to do.
I have homework.
And John and Dr. Williams don't, I mean, Mr. Shea and Dr. Williams don't have to stay either. So it's up to you two.
See, Lily, you can go with Dr. Williams. Dr. Williams will take you with her.
Thank you for staying.
There's still tests.
She's intrigued.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
you.
Well, John,
We'll
good night,
see you
Gina.
next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Hope to see you in the morning. It's okay.
Have fun watching TV.
Hope to be there in the morning. I don't know what's going to happen.
I'm sorry for this question, but Gordon's question sparked my brain, and now I just need, like, to understand. So the goals were created in March. The evaluation is on the goals that were created.
Yes.
So altogether, the evaluation is solely from March until now, based on these goals? Or these goals were, you referenced this, I think, in the last meeting?
Yes.
You wrote the goals, but really you were acting the goals
Yeah,
the
we-
entire year, right?
So-
Okay.
I'm just going to, let me just, I know that Amanda and I have talked about this because this is given out by the MASC. And Dorothy Presser does the charting the course, and they also do the evaluation committee, how to evaluate a superintendent.
Yeah.
Not everybody does the same evaluation.
Yeah.
So mine is going to look different than Avon, is going to look different than Dr. Shaver up in Abington will look different than Joe Bayetta in Norton. It's just, everybody's different. It depends on what, you don't have to do this at all.
Okay.
You could come up with your own
Gotcha.
goals and process. 2 years ago, or 3 years before COVID, we used to have 2 meetings, and we followed the strategic plan. So one meeting is finance, because that is totally up to you, and it's the warrants, and it's what we're going to do in the budget process, and who's on the budget subcommittee.
Two meetings a month, right?
What?
2 meetings a month?
2 meetings a month.
Okay.
The second meeting followed our strategic plan, which was learning, student learning, professional development, technology, and social emotional learning. And we would follow that, and we have a team, the teams would come in, we talked to the committee about it. That was one way for you to say, Liz puts this team together, Liz is going in this direction, this is what we're seeing, and this is the data that they keep coming in with. And that was a really great, that helped us. I thought that was a great way to do it, because at the end, you get a piece of paper that sort of looks like this, and I've changed it 3 times because it's been different all the time, somebody wanted to change it, but you see it happening as we're going through it. You're like, oh, yeah, okay, so she said, in this goal that she's going to produce, oh, yeah, they did classroom walkthroughs. They did feedback on teachers through the data reports. I might have sat in on an evaluation of a teacher with a principal and listened to the principal talk about data. Or I went to a data meeting at Mitchell School and listened to Mr. Gentile and Ms. McPartland and go over data. Or I had Ms. McPartland in my office talking to me about data. But you would go through that, but you would see Jen McPartland and her team as the facilitator come in and talk about, we administered iReady on this date. 97% of the students took it. We had 3% take them the next day. This is what we came up with. It's an automatic. And that's how it worked before. My contract says that you do my goals in June so that I'm ready for the following year, so when we begin, we go. There was another time that my contract had it, August, I think, August 1st to, I want to say April.
At one point, we did it from December to December.
Yeah,
We
I think it could have been like that. Yeah, it was changed a couple of times. It was different. And, you know, we would come back in April vacation or after April vacation, and before May 1st, I think, we had, and you guys all did it, and it was done. The whole thing on this, the superintendent evaluation, it's one, you know, a lot of the context that I know of is sitting down with the superintendent, making sure that there's no surprises for a superintendent walking in with their committee. That we're all on the same page, we're all talking, we're having conversations. If I go into an evaluation and it's doom and gloom, when I get it back, that means we didn't have a relationship. And I should have a relationship with you. Or at least the chair should be able to come in and say, this isn't working. You know, you're not doing what we asked, or pushing the district. Or the chair comes in and says, hey, we'd like you to work on this area just because we saw this. Okay. And then we sort of switch up. So in March, Tim came in and I said, you know, I think because of the school committee's policy and finance, we did a CBA with the East Bridgewater Association. We did it on time. It was a good contract. We valued our teachers, we valued our students, and we worked to get a contract done on time so that we could get into town meeting and get it done. The strategic plan is what forces the budget, or what moves the budget forward and what we follow in the district. We got that done. We had a task force. We all worked together, and it's a living document. I've already received Central School's plan, because they now have our strategic plan. They look at it. Now the schools have done it. The school councils have it. Andrew told me I'll have it. Mr. Gentile told me I'll have it. I think today or tomorrow we'll have it for the next school committee. So, I mean, we believe in this, and we do it, and this is what we do. I've gotten, you know, the iReady information. It's up and out. It's exactly what we thought it would be. It's exactly where we thought our kids would be. But we learned a lot, and it's also validated some of the things that I have said in the past, or said to my team and said, I think this is what's going on. We need to work to this direction. So the leadership goal on student learning, and I think that's where Amanda was going, is because she went through and I think checked some of the indicators.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So like instructional leadership is A through F. You're always going to see that in the leadership goal. Management and operation, I think, was B on standard 2. And standard 4 on professional culture was D and E. So you're looking at, so you use the, I'm sorry, man. So Amanda, I thought you were going to do the.
No, I can't.
So on this one, you look in here on, so on the leadership goal, you go to page
4.
Yep, page 4 of 7, which says standard for leadership right here. And then you would say, okay, we're going to look at it A through F.
Yeah, so can I interrupt for a moment?
Yep.
So each goal, we have goals in each of the, oh my gosh, I'm gonna mess up the things, the standards. The 4 standards are instructional leadership, management and operations, family and community engagement, and professional culture. So we have to evaluate Liz on each of, Superintendent Legault, on each of these standards, under each of the standards, and that's what you see starting on page 4, like 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. We have to choose at least one of those indicators under each standard. Usually 1 to 2, probably a total of 8 in the whole thing, at most, 6 to 8. And so just if you look at what Liz gave us, so for student learning, her leadership goal, standard 1, you have instructional leadership A through F. So she, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Superintendent, but
Yep.
She's saying that her goal of this covers each of these indicators. So essentially, any of these indicators are going to help us to measure a piece of that goal. Is that accurate?
That's because there was no indicators given, so I said.
Correct.
pretty much they're all in that leadership goal when you're talking about curriculum, assessment,
Yeah.
instruction.
And I
Yeah.
know Chair Pennington will be right back, but what normally, again,
And you can tell me if you want to just do two, I can reset this tomorrow. I got it on the Google Drive, so you're seeing it, as I put it up, you're getting it on time.
yeah. And normally, in a normal year, which again, we're going to get back to, hopefully we'll have a really great subcommittee meeting over the summer and figure this out to start next year. But not only does the superintendent set goals, or we do that collaboratively, but we'll also identify at that start of the cycle which indicators under the standards we will be evaluating. Right now, poor Liz, it's a little bit of a surprise, but we do have to determine this to do the evaluation this year. And so, yeah, I think what I did to think through this, and this can maybe be, we can talk when Ellen gets back, but maybe a decision we make next week, if we're gonna make next week, is I looked at the 4 goals that Liz has set, and so each of them, she wrote, right, standard 1, 2, 4, 3, which one she covered, and I kind of cross-checked them all. So, for example, you write standard 4E is covered in 3 of these 4 goals. So I think potentially a strategy could be that we look at 4E, because she is saying she's hit that in a couple of different ways. So I'm hoping to try and be as fair as we can in identifying these indicators, because she didn't have them ahead of time. Yep. Does that make sense? That is only my thought, that we are open to anything, but was any other thoughts that, I'm sorry, I interrupted
No, that's,
your
no,
process.
no, because we talked about it. I'm just saying that this is how I put it together. I thought this was easy for you to look at and say, okay, there's standard 2, you know, or I'd look at instructional leadership.
I think this is really helpful, and as you'll see in this is the rubric that, like, we're actually going to fill out.
Right.
Barbara and Kelly are gonna send this to us all in a Word document that you can fill, so you don't have to handwrite everything. But under each standard, is there not a composite score anymore? No. We do a score under, again, each of the indicators, oh yeah, there is, and an overall rating for that standard. And then you're welcome to make any comments that you'd like. We just went over this a little bit. But any other?
So, I mean, you can send what you have out to them, and if you just can't talk or discuss, you just send them back and then just send them to me and just say, Liz, pull out.
Yeah.
I mean, is that
Example, let's say-
process to complete this when it gets sent to us and send it back? And then do we do any of the discussion after?
So I think there's a couple of steps here. One, Ellen, I made the suggestion potentially of, if we are going to, say, have a meeting next week to determine how we vote on that other motion or the other action item, but also to, like, review this and start to think about what indicators. Maybe next week we could vote on the
next year, you mean?
No, for this evaluation.
Oh.
Because now we're probably going to bump everything out a week. We can take some time to really look at the indicators that we think are covered, or that we should be evaluating for this year. So once we have those set, we have the materials, and again, please correct me if I'm wrong. But we have time, each of us, to review the materials that the superintendent has provided, ask her questions. If you think that you want more information, supplemental materials, you see a bullet on here that you don't quite see the materials, or, I don't know, I'm imagining things. But we can reach out to the superintendent and ask those questions. And then, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, finish.
And then at that point, at that point, we would fill out for each of those standards, the indicators we decide. We would rate those and comment appropriately, and then rate her on each of her 4 goals that are also going to be at the top of this evaluation. And then individually, we would do the members who are participating, and if we choose to extend the invitation to former committee members, those would be sent to likely the chair, and then, or whomever we decide as a committee, and then the subcommittee, which is myself, Lauren, and Ellen, would get together in an open meeting and try to come up with one, well, not try, we will, come up with one evaluation that encompasses all that feedback. Because our goal is, we are one committee and we as a body evaluate the superintendent.
Right, yeah, so we would meet as a subcommittee, and then we bring it back to the full committee to give the cumulative, the compilation. But that I would meet with, between the subcommittee and the full committee's meetings, I would meet with Liz to go over all the individual evaluations and the cumulative evaluation, the compilation.
Yeah. And I think, as Ellen said earlier, our individual evaluation.
Easy.
Yeah, it's, sorry.
Well, the poor thing's falling.
Does everyone's brain hurt yet? Because I've been reading on this all week to make sure.
I'm just trying to think of how we're going to get all this done in even multiple weeks. It sounds like, if, let's say from my perspective, I fill this out, I compare it to her goals, my opinions here.
Yep.
I present it to you guys. You do this is barring the vote on additional members.
Right.
Yep.
So let's say I get this back to you for next Tuesday, the 14th.
Yep.
Then you have to have a subcommittee meeting,
Correct.
and then we have to vote on that on the 21st. And then are we just done, or is there more to do after?
No, it's done.
I'm
On
just
the
trying to think,
original
what-
timeline,
at
that
what point
was
of the summer am
exactly
I
how it
not
was
going
gonna
to
work.
be here? And it
Yeah,
sounds
it's
like it's
done.
going to be pretty
We
conclusive.
could, we could
I could
potentially
go to the
finish it.
28th.
Right, we could,
Yeah, I think one, unless,
We
that
could-
we can randomly meet on a Thursday, which I don't know, that might shake people up. But no, I think one more week would, because we were originally going to do it
The 21st.
the 21st, so we were going to have,
2 weeks.
yeah.
We
were
need a
gonna have-
meeting to-
Everybody was going to get all their stuff in by next Tuesday,
Yeah.
and then the subcommittee, we were going to meet between then and the next general meeting
Okay. So
to
the 14th
compile
meeting is
everything.
only to get
Individual.
further clarification on the
Yes.
lawyer's comments.
Yes.
Do we need to come back next Tuesday then to vote on that one piece and then give them evaluations if we say, okay, yes, or if we say no, then it's done?
right,
We
I'm just trying to figure out how
we
many
would
more meetings
determine
we-
that. Yeah,
But we do need a meeting for that part of it.
yeah.
we need to meet to vote, yeah, on that.
So I think we need to have a meeting next Tuesday to vote on that. But aside from that, like people like me, I should have my evaluation ready for that anyways. And then if we vote to allow others to add, then they can get theirs and they have to have it in by that Friday or something like that.
The one complicated step before you
Just
can
one?
complete, I know, I'm sorry. Before you complete yours is we have to agree on which of these indicators, the 1A, 1B, 1C, we're all going to complete. Because we should only really be evaluating, we haven't done that yet. So we need to agree on that. And that, my proposal was like, again, I looked at what Liz had here and kind of cross-checked, so I have,
Can we just do that tonight,
proposed?
or is there, I don't,
I can propose right now, or we can all look through it.
Just one additional, if anybody wants to call me or come to my office individually and sit down and say, I don't understand, I don't know where they are, I don't understand what this means. I don't understand what this, I don't understand what this means.
Well, we're on the topic of not understanding.
Right, but I'm just saying, if you don't understand this, you say, that's not what I got home when they sent it home to
Yeah.
me from school. What does this one mean for you? Well, this was the administrator's one, and this is what we get. And so I highlighted stuff, but you may want to come to my office and say, Liz, I'd like to go over everything with you, because I want to hear it from you. You can do that as well. That's not cheating, that's not doing anything wrong. It's just saying, I want to go over these questions with you, and these, if you have time, or you want to call me, you want to stop by, we can certainly do that. I have no problems
so
doing that.
I want to just point something out. So in the past, when I compiled, so I actually had to go back to people, because I had, not many people, just there were a couple questions that I had. So this is just, there's, so on this, you see how it says, rate overall summative performance based on step 1, 2. So this is actually brought forward from, it's brought forward, like there's stuff that's in here, in this section, that you have to bring forward here. So there was one time in the past, I had to ask a couple people, because I guess they didn't understand, that they put something different up here on this front page as opposed to the stuff back here. But if we come to that, I can just ask people individually.
May I make a suggestion? I think we've decided we're gonna meet next week to vote on who is participating in this.
Yeah.
I would say, again, barring the indicators, whatever, everyone take a look at this over the next week, and we go through just one more time, a quick revision of what's expected. Is that okay?
Could you tell me the indicators?
My proposed indicators, okay, everyone, ready? And again, this is just me, so please feel free. Based on what Liz has here, I would say 1B.
Are we on standard 1? Yeah.
Yeah, standard 1, B, instruction, and E, data-informed decision-making.
What are you on? What page?
It's page 4
Right
of
here.
7.
Page 4 of 7. You can take a
Standard 1,
moment.
it's
Right here.
standard 1.
This one. It's on the
Yeah.
back.
It's,
It's in your packet.
B, and what was the
You
other one?
have it?
this one's not in,
At the very end of that packet. You
Guys.
No.
That's paper snipe. Last,
Did you get one?
No.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's it.
which packet are we on?
I think they put it.
This one.
oh, yeah, it's attached to
And
that
it's
one.
page 4 of 7?
Go through my pile. Here he is. I got it, we got it, we got it.
What was it, the two letters, A, I
My
mean, B and
suggestion
what?
was 1B and 1E.
That's what she wants us to look at.
So just so you know, Liz has identified that in 3 of her 4 goals, those indicators would have been addressed, both of those, which was the most.
So is
That's my proposed. B, instruction, and E, data-informed decision-making.
You can do it right on this front page, too.
Oh, yeah.
On page 3 of 7, on the bottom, you can.
Oh, yeah, they're all right there, yep.
That little cheat
oh,
sheet.
yeah. That never used to be there, I don't think.
Standard 2 is a bit easier because B and C were addressed in 3 of the goals as well. The others were only addressed in 2 of the goals. So that would be my suggestion to review for standard 2.
B and C.
B, human resources management and development, and C, scheduling and management information systems.
Yeah.
My proposition for standard 3, again, that were addressed in, I think, 3 of the goals, would be A, engagement, and C, communication. And then my proposition for standard 4 would be, these are nice and easy because they're the only 2 that were covered in most of the goals, were D, continuous learning, and E, shared vision. Particularly in, so 2 and 4, I think those are kind of the only ones that appear in most of the goals. But 1 and 3, if anyone has strong opinions on looking at another indicator rather than one of the other ones, please let me know. Let us know. Sorry, this is not my decision. It's our decision. And so just as a reminder, when we go through and evaluate, you're only going to look at those 2 indicators. You're only going to rate her on those 2 indicators, rate score for each standard. Any thoughts?
Because at maximum, it's 2 per indicator.
Yeah.
Or
I guess
3.
technically.
Or 3, you can do 3 per indicator.
Yeah, I think it's DESI and MASC suggests no more than 8 total.
Okay.
And I just looked at 2 each.
2 is totally fine with me.
Oh, okay. Good, thanks.
Superintendent, how do you feel about it? It's your evaluation, too.
Yes, especially because we're.
Well, like,
I wanna do
you just saw the surveys. I mean, you're seeing everything at the school committee meetings. So, that's why it's like they're checkoffs.
Well, I make a motion to accept the proposed indicators as recommended.
If I have questions, I'll call you.
Yeah. So-
Second.
What?
Second.
Oh, I didn't finish my motion.
It was great, though, I can tell.
I make a motion to accept the indicators as recommended by Amanda, because I think they all are appropriate.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Amanda and second by Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Oh, abstain.
That's fine. You can say yes to it, too. It doesn't matter.
Well, I was in agreement. Sounds great.
Thank you. You get that?
This sheet,
Well, we had 1 abstention.
I would say aye. Thank you.
this sheet is just sort of like a checkoff list of what we do during the year. So you see, it was sort of like, I put a lot of stuff in there just so you see we do have meetings, or I'm doing walkthroughs, or I'm meeting with the principals, just some stuff that we're working on, like under district improvement, things like that. If you have any questions on anything, please call my office.
Thank you,
Text me.
Liz.
Yep.
And so, before we close this meeting out, so, just so we are all on the same page. Oh, do you have a question?
Point I make, finish what you're
Okay.
doing, it's okay.
So are we having a next, just so I can let Barbara know, because she has to post it in enough time for us to have our meeting. So on the 14th, we're going to have a meeting on the 14th to only talk about this action, the action item of the request of this other previous member.
Action
Okay.
item, and can we,
6:14, okay.
just discussion
And when do we want,
Discussion
on the, like, just to go through if we have any more
Process
questions
again.
on the process.
okay.
So the meeting on the 14th will be really quick, we're just coming in
Yeah.
to make a vote, right?
Yeah, it'll be quick in the process.
And so what time will that be?
6:30, if everybody's good with 6:30 for next Tuesday, or we can change it to a different time.
It will be a
Do it
challenge
Monday.
for me to get there, but I will.
Because it's the last minute, because,
You have 48 hours, so you could do it Friday, you could do it Monday. You do it Thursday, right? I mean. No, you could do it Thursday, Friday, or Monday. I mean, I'm just saying, you
we're
need
trying to
48
leave
hours.
enough.
No,
time.
but she's saying if there's 48 hours, yeah, but I don't, like I said, I
Oh,
can
no, I
wake up
mean-
at noon tomorrow and have it all figured out. Wake up at noon, oh my God.
Nice. You're lucky.
Looks
I
like
can't remember right, exactly, I think I might need to do that.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh, my
We don't have
God.
enough time, we can't meet on Thursday. So so next Tuesday.
Why can't you meet on Thursday?
No, because it would have to been posted.
Because it's
today.
already Tuesday, it's already past 48
it's-
hours.
Yeah,
You do it Friday at 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock.
yeah, but not everybody works.
I'm just saying, I'm just, if you wanted a Friday to get it out of the way, you could.
We could either do it Monday night or Tuesday night, or that's at least, it still gives us time to do our evaluations and meet as a subcommittee and all that stuff.
Either Monday or Tuesday works for me.
Neither day makes a difference for me.
Monday's best for me, Tuesday will be tough.
either or?
Gordon, do you have a preference?
What's the date on
I can
Monday?
do,
Playing
I can,
golf?
I can do either. Want to do Monday, 13?
Monday the 13th? Okay.
And it doesn't have to be at 6 o'clock,
6:30, you mean?
6:30. I'm just saying, make it easy for people. I don't know.
Do you want to do 7?
Where people
6:30,
are.
7, what?
I personally, the earlier the better, but I know everybody else has commitments too, so, and since this is all because of me.
I could do 6 also.
I can do early.
I can do 6.
Gordon?
What do we?
Meeting
time.
Monday, yeah, 6
You could do
o'clock.
it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, is what I'm saying.
Amanda?
Like, you know,
6, okay, so 6 on Monday the 13th.
you're still in school?
No, I'm just at home. I'm up the street, so.
And when do you want the evaluations completed?
So I think we have our meeting posted on the 21st, because that's our end of the fiscal year stuff anyway, right? So we're still going to meet on the 21st to do that, but do we want to bump out the evaluation to the 28th? Which is a,
Well, the only thing I'm sorry.
No.
The only thing you're considering is assuming if you go the route of opening it up for Trista and Tim, you giving them time, you guys can start it anytime now, so it's not going to impact your cycle, but you just, out of deference, if that is still a possibility, you're going to allow them, you want to give them enough time to fit into
Hanging
that
in.
schedule.
Yeah.
So,
I imagine if the request is made to have an opinion, there's already an opinion.
yeah.
I don't think we're going to encumber some great mystery. I think there's opinions that want to be shared. I don't want to push us into July or later.
Yeah, I agree.
I just want to
28th
be
is-
aware of the time limit and just say, okay, well, if we vote on this next Monday and we say yes or no, when do you need these evaluations back? And then when do we have to have a follow-up on it to kind of close it out? Is 6/21 to have them back in and then 6/28 to wrap it up?
Oh,
And
we
then we're-
probably need them back in before 6:21,
Okay.
because that,
Because then the
how
subcommittee
about
has.
Friday the 17th? In by Friday the 17th?
Which would give if we did vote yes, it would give them a couple of
Basically,
days to look at it.
almost
I
a
guess
week,
I'm
yeah.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
That's fine.
in by the 17th.
They'll-
So meeting Monday, everything due to us by the 17th.
Yep.
And then that gives us, how long to have a subcommittee meeting?
A little well, if we push out to the 28th over a week,
Okay.
but we really probably want to have
that
it
gives
early.
me-
Earlier rather, right, because then Ellen needs time to meet with Liz before that, right? Yeah.
I have,
And the subcommittee meeting is just a matter of mathematically compiling.
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
people said proficient, 1 person said
yeah,
terrific, or whatever it may be. But if there are questions that come up, it gives you time to ask,
Right.
sit with Liz and say, oh, we didn't understand, there's some conflict on this, or I need more clarification or something, so.
so we could meet between the 20th and the 23rd?
Yeah.
Or even like early on the 21st if we could, or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's good too, yep. But do we want to set that now, or no, not yet?
Let's wait.
Let's wait. Let's just all agree that we're shooting for sometime the 21st and see how it plays out.
Okay, I just need to know probably by, Friday, by the 16th, I
Yeah.
would need to know.
Yeah.
And I think, oh, I'm sorry, Gordon.
No, finish, go ahead.
I think to Gordon's point earlier, we can all start our evaluation now. We have the materials, we know the indicators, we can definitely ask questions of the superintendent, as she said. So, we can all get started on ours.
Not to complicate things, but, so, Liz, Superintendent Legault, next thing up right away is, oh, by the way, she needs goals for the new year coming up. So
Right.
that's like bang, bang. Or finish this and make sure she has goals, so we don't follow the problem that we had for last year, like we get so out of sync. Yeah, I think the quicker you can
We're
get
also
back.
going to consider changing the cycle anyway to
Yeah.
be more in line with the election year, so.
Okay.
I think we could
That's-
probably, oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's you or Ellen calling Nick Dominello. My call would be to the Mass Superintendents Association to have them come in if there was an issue.
It would make sense,
We
I
don't,
think,
at
to,
that point, if there was an issue, but I don't see an issue, like I'm saying.
No, I mean,
I think your point earlier of, right, this is, you and Gordon both had a question, our job is for better or worse, we're your boss, right? And so if you're a manager and you have a staff member, it shouldn't really be a surprise.
No.
We should be addressing these things all along.
Right.
We want to have a
Right.
fair and transparent relationship, so.
Right. I'm just saying, I wouldn't call Nick and tell him, can I do my goals next week? Like, that wouldn't be
Yeah.
me, that has to be Ellen.
I think our goal is definitely
Do it April,
as soon as early.
August to April's.
well, and then, right,
line
so
with our
then,
Election schedule.
especially if we can get the goals done at like the first meeting of the year, because then
it makes sense.
you're ready,
Yeah.
right?
Like, you introduce the goals at the very beginning of school, and then
Yes.
we evaluate you on how that year went at the end of school.
Yes.
Kind of makes
Kind of
sense
at
that
the end
way.
of school.
Kind of a little
A
before.
little short, but,
Yeah, we could, I
But
mean,
the election also is May now, so it's just a smidge short. It's not an April election anymore.
Right,
For
it's
school
actually
committee.
better.
oh, that's
So
true.
That
you go
May
to
is
April
the, May
vacation,
is the new
all the stuff needs
standard
to
for.
be in.
And we used to have
elections.
we used to have you get it in by April
So it's
vacation,
a, it's
or
a
even right
decent amount of
before.
time.
Yeah, it was the week
It
before,
is.
so you had April vacation.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, is the first meeting of the year technically the August meet, there's a meeting, one
I
meeting
think
in
so,
August,
yep,
right?
Yeah.
yep. It's like right before, right after school starts.
Yep. Okay.
But if I know,
Is it right before?
Nick would just have to read.
School starts late this year. After Labor Day.
thank
Oh, yeah.
you all. Before we end, Madam Chair, can I also just thank the superintendent, and I meant to say this when Jean was still here, and the assistant superintendent for speaking and attending at the Community Coalition for Change celebration of multiculturalism. That was this Sunday. It was a great event. Really grateful for you to be there and to speak. And, we look forward to, I think so far our relationship with the CCC has gone really well. I know that's part of your materials here, and really appreciate you being there.
Thank you.
Also, thank you for the book.
Yes.
It came from Mrs. Byrne today. She said, make sure everybody gets the book. So John has to read it and give me he needs to talk to me. in
John's
the morning.
summer reading.
Is that a show and tell?
I told him, I said, I'd like to know by tomorrow what you thought of this.
Make sure you ask him what feeling he had, 'cause
I
that's
did.
what's in the book.
Get him a graphic
I already read
organizer.
mine.
Yeah.
Vote on this.
My
What does he choose? What
I-
feeling does he choose?
I would like to
responsibility.
thank
John.
EBCAM for always televising and
Oh,
recording our
I'm talking
meetings.
with him when he's not here. Not good. done that
Extra
before.
credit if it's an extra pie.
Monetary.
I mean, an actual
I think
pie.
he wrote that on my, didn't he do that on my wall one time?
I really can't even talk.
Erase it now.
There is a thing as an emotion wheel.
I know.
I would take a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Lauren,
Second.
Second.
second by Gordon. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Legault.
You're welcome. Thank you.